What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Patrick, and today we have a very interesting discussion topic. It's going to surround one of my childhood icons in video gaming, at least, Banjo-Kazooie. And if you're living under a rock or you missed E3, Banjo-Kazooie was announced as a DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Such a cool moment. The release trailer, as soon as that Jiggy bounced around the screen, I went crazy. And just to see Banjo-Kazooie, in full HD and, a Nintendo model, it was beautiful, man. Of course, Banjo-Kazooie is a product of Rare, which now is owned by Microsoft. So, that was an awesome moment, not just for Super Smash Brothers and for the E3 conference, but it was a very, very cool moment in gaming because there's a lot of old school Nintendo fans who grew up with Rare. I mean, Rare pretty much owned the 90s, Super Nintendo, especially the N64 era, creating great games. So Banjo-Kazooie, it was really odd to see. It's always been rumored, it's always been wanted by fans, but to see Banjo-Kazooie in Smash was pretty incredible. So now the discussion, because I've heard this quite a bit, would Banjo-Kazooie now translate well to having his own game again? Now, we got two Banjo-Kazooie games on the N64, Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, and then Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, which came out on the Xbox 360, I believe, which was kind of we don't like to talk about that game. It was just very much different from the games on the 64. Those were like true 3D platformers, and it just wasn't the same. And the character model I just never liked anyway from Nuts and Bolts. But would it make a good game? And I think the bigger question is, would it sell well? And I think we have to look towards a game that recently came out about 2 years ago, and that is Yooka-Laylee, which of course was the spiritual successor, in quotations, that was a Kickstarter that got fully funded. Incredible funding on it. I think it was over $2 million or something like that. $2 or $3 million. It was one of the most successful Kickstarters of all time. And Yooka-Laylee came out, with some mixed reviews. I actually quite enjoyed the game. I know that there was a lot of critiques about the camera issues and stuff like that. But you know what? Someone like me who grew up in the 90s playing the N64, playing the PS1, I'm so used to the janky controls in a 3D platformer that I actually found it quite refreshing, oddly enough, because, 3D platformers, they're not as abundant as they once were. I mean, we had a ton of them, not just on Nintendo systems. I mean, PlayStation had them, Xbox had them. So would Banjo-Kazooie sell well? I think that's the biggest question. So I believe Banjo-Kazooie, the first one, sold, and I could be wrong on this, I think it sold around 3 to 3.5 million on the N64, which is pretty good. I mean, in today's standards, it would have been a lot lower. I think it still would have been a success. You have like offshoot games nowadays like Kirby that sell a couple million, so it would perform better than that. But then the sequel, I believe, sold about 1.5 million, so a pretty big drop off. And, I think Yooka-Laylee did well. I don't know the exact numbers on Yooka-Laylee. I know that there was quite a bit of people disappointed, but we just want to talk about sales, and not even sales so much, but, the interest from people. Of course, people liked Banjo-Kazooie, the reveal in Super Smash Brothers, but that's very, very different from Banjo-Kazooie himself having his own game again. So what do I think about this? First of all, I think that there is, we need to talk about this. I think there is still a need and hunger for a very good 3D platformer in 2019. I do agree with the people that say that 3D platformers are, kind of an outdated genre. But I still think that you can make a great 3D platformer feel unique and still be a quote unquote great game. But I do think that there is a demand, not only from the people of the past who want to relive their childhood and, just absolutely love 3D platformers and the whole N64 era, but now you have a few different people. You have the people who pretty much have just heard about him from this Smash reveal, as odd as that is. I have to kind of take my age into consideration, and there are a lot of younger, new age Nintendo fans who may have not even owned an N64. So you got to take them into consideration. The whole Smash community. I mean, there's been characters that make me want to kind of explore Smash games. Like when Joker was revealed, I had never played a Persona game, but now, I mean, now that I see Joker, I mean, kind of looks like a cool character. So now I'm kind of interested in Persona. So the power of Smash Bros is definitely a real thing. I mean, we saw this firsthand with Mega Man. You know, Mega Man kind of had his own revival. And now Mega Man 11, the character model in Mega Man 11 is kind of similar to the Smash Bros character model. So there's definitely the power of Smash that gets people interested in these characters. So I think you have a lot of different crowds that would definitely buy into this game. And, like I was saying before, the whole Kickstarter that Platonic Games had with Yooka-Laylee, that definitely is working in its favor. I mean, that game is no shame whatsoever trying to be the next Banjo-Kazooie. I mean, all the way down to the little voices that characters have, like the bip, 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 like it's just so similar to Banjo-Kazooie, and they're definitely not hiding it. And actually, some of the people that worked on the original Banjo-Kazooie worked on Yooka-Laylee. I'm probably going to be referring to Yooka-Laylee a lot because that's kind of the best modern game that is exactly like Banjo-Kazooie that we can kind of see. I mean, of course, you have Mario Odyssey, which is a 3D platformer, but this is very different. It's more of a collectathon type thing. And of course, we are living in the day of remakes and remasters. And of course, two very famous Sony mascots recently got their games remastered. I'm talking, of course, about Spyro and Crash Bandicoot. And those games sold really well. I mean, the Insane Trilogy sold very well. And I do believe that the Spyro Trilogy sold not as well, but is still selling well. And plus, that trilogy still hasn't come over to the Switch yet as of this recording. So, those were two big successes. You also have the Medieval remake that's coming out later this year. It just looks like developers want to recreate or remaster the older games because of, how much fans love them. And I think that now more than ever, you have a lot more gamers either coming back to gaming or have just discovered gaming again. I mean, gaming is just, I think, at its peak right now. I don't think we've had so much gamers. That's why all the games, are selling, breaking records, breaking sale records, and, E3 and things like the Game Awards are bigger than ever. So it's a very exciting time. And I definitely think that a Banjo-Kazooie game would fit that kind of style. I mean, I'll just say this. I mean, Banjo-Kazooie on the Switch I'm even confident with saying would sell 5 times at least as much as the Xbox version because, Rare is still owned by Xbox, and this would work very well in Microsoft's favor now that Banjo-Kazooie is kind of in the limelight. I don't know. I think that if you're Microsoft, you have to take advantage of this wave of, new fans discovering Banjo-Kazooie again. And of course, you have all these content creators flipping out at Banjo-Kazooie's reveal. So you have to think that the younger fans would buy into a Banjo-Kazooie game. I believe that he's coming out for Smash Bros. In the fall. So I don't know if you can bust out a game. I'm not saying rush it out, but if you can get out a game and capitalize on the hype, I definitely think that this could be a pretty big success. Now, I don't think it would sell like double-digit millions of copies, but I definitely think that it would sell a few million at least. I think the nostalgia is big enough there, and of course the Smash community, like I was saying before. So I think it would. I'm kind of curious what you guys think. If you guys think that Banjo-Kazooie would sell, would it be Banjo 3E? How would it play? And that's kind of another thing that I'm kind of interested about. Because the games like the Insane Trilogy and the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, those were straight remakes. So, all the annoying things and, the things of the 90s were still pretty prevalent in those remakes. The camera controls, the difficulty, there wasn't really any modern, fine tuning or, new age gameplay integrated with those games. So would they completely go back to its roots? I don't think it would be a remake. I would hope it would be a new game, but I'm not, as I'm saying this, I'm not as confident, but it would be interesting to see if they kept those kind of janky camera controls and stuff like that, because as much as people like to critique it and stuff, it was a part of the era. So, do you fix it? Do you make it like completely flawless controlling? Or do you still bring back the wonky 64 controls? That's going to be interesting to see what they do with Banjo-Kazooie. Remake, new game, remaster? I don't know. I don't know what they do. Let me know, guys, in the comments section below what you think a new Banjo-Kazooie game would be like. Would it sell? That's the big question. Guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.